Hey, everybody. On today's show, she is back. Ayahuasca Ros is going to join us for the whole episode. We're going to talk about her new podcast, Mates and Rates, which is all about travel and traveling during COVID. So we're going to get the 411 on what to do, what not to do. We're going to cover a little bit of Drag Race and a bunch more. So grab a drink and enjoy the show. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Who Invited Her. We are San Diego's LGBTQ pop culture podcast. I am your host, Tony, and I'm here with the little one, Bashi. Say hi.
Hi!
There he is.
It's so good to see you, Tony.
And for our podcast listeners, Bashi got a haircut and it looks very nice. I really am digging your hair.
Thank you.
And he's back. Eric is here too. Say hi, party Eric.
I have a sweat stain. Look at that. Isn't that hot and sexy?
So sexy. So very, very sexy.
I didn't even notice.
And the man running the show, making us look great, producer Rob is here.
Oh, sorry. I don't know.
Wow, Rob, just bring the show to just a complete
Hey, everybody, I'm here too.
Miss Miriams Tea is off this week. She is a busy lady. That woman is working. But we have a very special guest. She's a friend of the podcast, been on a few times. You know her as Ayahuasca Ros. She is going to be joining us for the whole episode. Hi, Ros.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I'm so excited to be back.
I know. I like when you're on. It's so much fun.
Oh, yay.
But this time, we're going to talk like we did last time, travel, but you started a podcast.
I did.
Yeah, you're in the podcast world with us.
I've joined the podcast world, and it's been exciting, but it's been really great just actually talking about travel and putting it somewhere so that people can find the information if they want it and access it. Because there are people that want to book travel on their own. There are people that want help, and then they're putting that into a podcast and providing that to somebody.
Yeah, the
so
info.
they can just listen. And I enjoy it too, because my co-host Adam, he's also in travel, and we've known each other for like 15 years.
Yeah.
And it's fun connecting with him every week and recording, and we laugh along the way. And it's like this. It's just fun.
It's fun.
Informative. Fun and informative.
That's important. I don't know if we're really informative on this
podcast. Too much information. Maybe.
Too much. Yeah, maybe. About stuff you don't want to know about.
Right.
So what is the name of the podcast? And give our audience the rundown of what they could expect when they tune into you guys.
Definitely. So it's a Mates Rates podcast. And we are two Australian travel professionals just wanting to shoot the shit with each other because we're really great friends, but talk about travel while we're doing it. And each episode has a theme. So we started off with pandemic travel because that is what everybody wants to know about. And we had to start veering away from that because at the beginning, it's like, we have to record one more episode about COVID. I'm going to go crazy.
Oh, I bet.
There's so many other things we started this for, like how to get cheap flights, how to not get caught out by change fees and fare differences, and then there's all the COVID rules. And then there's Eric knows because Eric will be on our podcast eventually, so we're going to be doing like gay friendly destinations and what to look out for. Adam is really great with points. So if you have credit card points and things like that, Adam is the expert. Yeah. First and business class. He's the corporate man. Adam is the corporate first class business. I am the leisure backpacker person. So together we kind of come together and have this ebb and flow, but it's really just about travel and equipping our listeners with a toolkit so that they can get mates rates all the time. So
and you guys both have such good personalities that come through the podcast, which makes getting that information even funner. You know what I mean? Especially when it's coming from two people who you just would want to sit down and chat with and listen to. So
that's the idea. That's what we're aiming for. We're like, I approached Adam about this and I was like, would you be interested in recording a podcast with me? Because you're funny and you bring it out of me because you've known me for so long. He knows half the scandalous stuff that happened before I even got to America and just all the dirty stuff, all the secrets, and he knows what buttons to push to get that out of me. So it really works. And I'm like,
you gotta have a co-host that does that, Bash, who just drives you crazy. knows what to say to just make good radio, Bash.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Bash, did you have a
Oh,
question?
No,
Okay.
I'm just sitting here and fucking listening to you, just as we always do, Tony. Your show. Go ahead
It's
and
my
run.
show, bit. No, I'm kidding. Well, so a lot of people are going to tune in wanting to know the 411, especially now traveling in COVID times. So let's start there. And I know Eric is planning
Roz has just told us.
I know. She's
So
like, I'm
fucking
sick of talking about
it.
but we're going to talk
Pandora's box.
I know. And I know Eric's planning a trip coming up and he's fully vaccinated and all that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's a bunch of other people that are going to be listening who are in the same boat and they're wondering, is it safe to travel? And if I do need to travel or decide to go on a trip in COVID times, what do I need to do and what do I need to watch out for? All of that good stuff.
I actually listened to several episodes before I started like considering traveling because I wanted to know like what do I need to know, like what's happening, what's going on the other side. So super helpful. But yeah, take it away, Ross. Tell us about it.
I guess it starts off with what your definition of safe is as well, right? Because that is the first thing that everyone considers safety differently. So I actually went to Belize recently and I wasn't vaccinated yet. Okay. So I went there to experience pandemic travel because I don't think that you can really be a travel agent and sell travel if you have not gone and done it yourself. I'm a very big believer in you have to do what you're selling, right?
Yeah.
You can't. So safety, we actually ran some polls on the podcast as well, and the polls were, what do people deem as safe? And there were a lot of opinions on not infecting others. So people felt that it was their due diligence to not, as far as safety, to not travel so that they would not harm others. Whereas other people were like, no, the safety is on the other person, not to harm me. So in hotels, people not wearing masks, people not following the rules. We actually had one of our listeners tell us about a flight that she was on, a Delta flight, and somebody wore the mask to board the plane and then took it off after takeoff. And they refused to put it back on for the entire duration of the trip. And then Delta gave them a lifetime ban. I was like, go.
Whoa.
Oh, God.
Lifetime ban from Delta. And I'd love to know if that extends to like all Delta's partners, but that's for later. So I think it comes down to what you consider is safe. Everyone has their own comfort zone. For me, when I consider travel during a pandemic, I'm thinking about what is the smartest place to go, right?
Okay.
What's smart? Europe is now starting to open up. Personally, I don't consider Europe smart to go to right now, okay?
Yeah.
You think about the Louvre, you think about all the museums and the coffee shops and the bars, the things that you've done when you've gone to Europe. How is that experience going to be different now with COVID? And even we're not out of the woods yet. We're still going to have this, existence where things aren't going to go back to that normal, feel of travel for a long time.
Yeah.
And so do you want to stand in longer lines at the Louvre? And Frank House? Do you, because those lines now are going to be 6 feet apart, right?
Yeah.
So not only are you in a line that wraps around the block, but now this line is 6 feet apart as well at the same time. So we're going to go twice around, meandering down the like little avenues and walkways and things. So I think as far as Europe goes, if you want to go there and safety is of concern, think outdoors. Okay. So Greece.
Yeah.
Greece. Beautiful. we love Greece. Greece just opened up. Okay. They're opening up in May for US passport holders, which is awesome because at the moment, and sorry, I'm jumping all over the place because it's kind of meanders, right?
It's all over the place.
It is. You're absolutely right, Bashi.
So Greece or Europe in general, we've seen them start to open up, but only to European passport holders. Okay, they're only letting their own. Yeah. Like, can we get there?
I know, thank God. But...
So US passport holders have not been welcome until recently. And Greece were the first ones to say, as of May 14th, you're welcome in Greece. Mykonos, it's wonderful. Gay friendly, it's fun, it's outdoors, it's sunny. Yeah. But it's also a party destination, okay? So you have to think, if you're going there, right, are you going there expecting to party and have and go out and socialize and be in bars? Because if you are, then there's probably going to be a market there for that. But if you're expecting to go there and relax and stay away from people and just kind of enjoy the Mediterranean, you can do that too. But you are going to miss out on that aspect of the partying.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So it's really about setting expectations about
Right.
where you're going and why you're going. And so my recommendation is to go outdoors. Now, Iceland as well, and I think this is hilarious. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Iceland opened up to US passport holders on March 18th.
I did.
And then on March 19th,
They had
10,000-year-old dormant volcano erupted.
Yeah,
I
40,000
know.
volcanoes a day. They said that it
Jesus.
feels like you're on a boat just walking around Iceland.
Yeah,
And
because
I
of all the earthquakes, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm
they've
like,
apparently
so
had a
crazy.
lot of them recently.
Yeah.
And
A
so this
lot.
10,000-year-old dormant volcano erupts the day after they welcome US citizens back. And I'm like, was that Mother Nature being really passive aggressive?
Yes,
Probably.
absolutely.
No.
She was like, "If you guys think you're gonna open up, I'm gonna show you something else." She said, "No, thank you, ma'am."
She flexed. That was a mad flex by
Right.
Mother Nature.
The other, I had a question for you, Roz, and
Yes.
for Bashi too. The news just came out that Europe, especially Italy, is having a third wave of Corona right now,
Closed.
and they've
Yeah.
closed everything. So, how is that? And you're in the travel industry. How is that going to affect travel to Europe now? Is it's like going to shut down the whole country, or is it just anybody wanting to go to Italy?
You want to take it first, Bashi?
Yeah, I think, that kind of goes in with what Roz is saying. Like, if you go to Europe, you're
Yeah.
going to have to set expectations for yourself. And also, I think, like, I have a lot of family there. I
Yeah.
really miss them a lot. Like, Italy's probably going to be one of the first places I visit once everything's done, just because, I have an aunt out there that's 93, and,
Wow.
Yeah.
I just miss my family a lot. But,
How is your family doing out there? Like, is everybody
they're
safe?
fine.
Okay.
Everybody's in southern Italy. Southern Italy is a lot better off than the north,
Very different.
which is where I used to live,
Okay.
was in Milan.
Yeah.
But that's like New York of Italy. It's packed with people, tons of things going on, bars,
Tourists, all of that
restaurants.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd still stay. It's just as Roz is saying. Like, I don't think a city vacation to Europe is the best idea right now. If you want to go hiking through the Alps, or if you want to go to a beach in Greece, or like,
sounds so
go
much fun.
through the
I wanna do
countryside of
that.
France and go. It's
Yeah.
basically just like here. You're just going to
Yeah.
try to make expectations to keep some distance from people. London's probably not a good idea. Paris is probably not a good idea right now, but that doesn't mean
The big metro
off the table.
cities. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're probably
Yeah.
not the best. So, Roz, you are in the travel industry. How have you seen it change, especially at the beginning of the pandemic and now that the vaccines have rolled out and all of that? Is there an uptake in travel that
There
you're
is.
seeing?
But definitely 100%. So in the beginning of the pandemic, I definitely took a step back and just was kind of washed my hands of the situation, because there was so much changing constantly. Nothing was consistent. And I just personally didn't want to deal with it. I'm not going to sell travel because I don't know what kind of dollar amount you put on organizing someone's trip when there are changes coming in every other day.
Yeah.
This was, back in June, July of last year. So I just took a step back and just kind of let it, let the
right
chip
out.
write it out. And then I started getting back into it probably October, November. I started looking back into, okay, what's opening up slowly. And you see that the new buzzword is travel corridors. And travel corridors are reciprocal agreements between certain countries. So at the moment, England, the UK, and Spain just entered into one. And basically that means that we like how you're handling your shit, and you're handling it really well too. So we're going to open up an agreement where we're going to allow us tourists to come and see you. Right. So that's why just because a country opens up during travel doesn't mean that your passport is welcome there. So the travel corridors are happening, and we're hoping that eventually we'll see one between the US and the UK, because that's still, we don't have one yet in the US.
Yeah.
And I just think so, with as far as now, as things open up, and Iceland and Greece doing what they did kind of set the trend. They kind of started the ball rolling. They said, okay, we're opening up to US passport holders, and now we should expect to see that continue. And we should expect to see like
Increasing.
more other countries then also open up their doors.
So, Roz, my question is though, so Greece is part of the EU.
Yes.
And they can allow US passport holders back to Greece,
Mhm.
but that doesn't necessarily mean you're free to go wherever you are within the union. It's kind of like, gee, a gun. what you want to do is not necessarily what you're gonna do.
Nice Drag Race reference.
So like if you want to go to France, you might not be able to go to France.
Yeah. And
so elegantly put, Bash.
Yeah.
Now that things are starting to pick up with
Yes.
travel, where have some of the hottest destinations people are picking that are really popular right now?
for US passport holders,
Yeah.
it's the Caribbean
Oh, okay.
and it's Central America.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Costa Rica and Belize, up even 2 months ago, before the vaccines really started to pick up, have been leading the way.
Yeah,
in-
we're hoping Rob and I to get out to Aruba where we have the timeshare later in the summer, because I've heard it seems like they're doing pretty good with as far as travel, and people are still going there and feeling safe because you're on the beach pretty much the whole time. Which, like, going back to what you said, Roz, it's outdoor. Well, your adventure there or a trip there is going to be mostly outdoor.
Outdoor spaces, and what you want to also take into account is, so there's so many things.
I know.
So you want to look at the readiness of the country, and I think that you should be looking at how long they've been doing this and how long their protocol has been in place. Has it been consistent, or they keep chopping and changing their mind? Okay, that's one of the big things I picked Belize for. I said, okay, they've had a consistent COVID protocol for 2 months. It hasn't changed. That's where I'm going to go. I feel comfortable with that. Right. But you also want to make sure. So Thailand is opening up.
Okay.
They are open to US passports with a special visa.
Yeah.
I know, gosh.
Thailand has its own set of things that are
Right.
political too, though. So that's why I cringed. I'm just not sure.
But the thing is with Thailand is that they might not have the testing in place for the demand of tourism, who then need the test to come home. All right. So you have to also
think about these things.
Are you able to get that test to come back?
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's
how
a lot
easy?
to think about.
How easy will it be?
Because right now you have to test to come back into the U.S. That's an American policy.
Right.
Yeah.
And your test has to be 72 hours or younger.
Yeah.
So you can't even. And so getting that test that finesses that time stamp is the key, right? That's the hardest part. I think most people, when I talk to them about their travels, it's when do I get the COVID test done? And because you have access in the US to free testing, that's great, but the free tests don't get you a result in the time frame that you need it.
Right.
And I personally think you'd be stupid to get on a plane without your test results in your hands. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. Why would you get on the plane if you haven't figured out if you're testing positive or negative to COVID yet? Because you could get there and face a quarantine, you know, or infect others. So same day health are a new clinic that are popping up in like the US. I think they're in about 40 different cities across the US, and they offer a 36-hour priority PCR test.
I think I saw that.
You can schedule it. It's awesome. You can make an appointment.
What is the company again? So if
it's
people
same day health.
Same day health, everybody.
Yep.
That's good to know, because I did not know that.
And they have a priority PCR test, which gets you results in less than 36 hours. And what I found really complicated with a lot of the other clinics that provide testing is you can't make appointments really far in advance, 3 days, because technically you should only be testing, or they only expect you to be testing if you're sick, right? Or symptomatic, not if you're traveling. So now with the uptake in traveling, people want to schedule those appointments, make sure they don't miss out, so they can really make sure that that result comes in time. And they take insurance as well, which is great. So if you have insurance, they take insurance, make that appointment. So same day health are my recommendation. But then considering in country, so now at your destination, making sure that they have the resources to get you that test to come home. And a lot of hotels have been really good at organizing that for you.
Okay.
Wow.
So that's good information, Roz. But then how are people with the vaccine getting treated? Is there any kind of like priority that's going to them? And then the other thing that I heard was that little CDC white card that everybody's posting on social, which you should not be doing because it's an identity theft issue. Please stop doing that.
I don't know why people are doing that.
People, it's not even about like, I don't give a fuck. It's great that you got tested and you should post that you got vaccinated, whatever. But people are taking your birth date off of that and using it to fill in the gaps for your identity. So don't do that. But
God.
I've heard that card is not recognized internationally and that there is another card a vaccine passport that's yellow
Yes.
and it's issued by the World Health Organization.
Oh yeah, you
So,
know,
like, what-
play show and tell. Hold on.
Yeah. Oh, you got it?
I have one.
I don't give a fuck because the first place I'm going is Europe, and I have a passport.
Yeah, and you'll
you
be
know, once
fine.
it's safe
Hold on.
and Italy's allowing me back, I'm gonna.
So
go there.
this passport
Don't
is
tell.
specifically for people who have been vaccinated. That is from the World Health Organization. And how
So-
would somebody go about getting that if
It's
they
hard.
are going to be
You are
traveling a
only-
lot?
You are only administered one of these. Okay, so the
Uh-huh.
World Health Organization at the top. If you're getting a vaccine that is required for travel.
Ah, okay.
So
Got it.
I have it because I have the yellow fever vaccine. And when
Ah.
I travel to certain destinations, they won't let me board the plane without showing proof of a yellow fever vaccine.
Oh wow.
Okay, so that's why I
Okay.
have it. It's the only reason why, because this is what's recognized. They haven't yet, I'll show the backside so that no identity theft, okay? This is my CDC card. They haven't yet connected these two. They're working on it, but
got
it's
it.
not official yet. Okay.
Okay.
And even when they do, this is just my opinion. They're not going to be able to say, this is not valid. You have to have this. They're going to have to give a grace period because
Right.
now, I mean, there's 70 million people almost, 30 something million vaccinated in the US fully. 70 million have received their first dose.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you can't expect that many people overnight to get this information put in this officially because it has to
Right.
be stamped. They're going to have to go back to the person they got the vaccine from
Yeah.
and work out how you put them together. So at the moment, there's no official document that proves, apart from your vaccine card, that you've got the vaccine for
Uh-huh.
travel purposes. Okay. But in saying that, we are seeing that the vaccinated people are getting a leg up. A lot of countries now are starting to say that if you have the vaccine, you don't have to have a PCR test to come in.
Okay. So,
Okay.
It's
so
happening.
things
I
are.
didn't think it would, but it is. Yeah.
So that is the thing because I know that
Thing.
I think once I feel like I'm comfortable, I'm thinking two destinations are priority. It's either, I mean, Europe, I
Mhm.
really do want to go see my family, but if that's not the case, then I was thinking Hawaii because they are going to allow the
vaccine.
the
Yeah.
vaccine card to be able to
Yes.
get in. So once I'm done, that might be like the first option.
But Bash, you bring up a good point. And when people are deciding to travel, it's gonna all be like you said, Roz, what are you gonna feel safe and when you're gonna feel safe doing it.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And
Which is
we
gonna be
ran
interesting.
we ran some polls on the podcast in the beginning. I think we mentioned this earlier about lots of different random questions we asked about. Do you feel safe? Is it safe to travel? Are you personally feeling that it's not safe, or are you just, not okay with it yourself? Because there are different opinions out there, right?
Oh,
Some
yeah,
people
for
think
sure.
you shouldn't be traveling because we're still in a pandemic.
Right.
And there are people that are like, you shouldn't be traveling because you might have COVID. Okay. What is it? You can't project that on people. The tourism industry has to pick up. Countries
Yeah.
can't keep going on this. Tourism provides the economy, it's needed, and it can be done safely. The biggest thing as well, as far as safety though goes, is your expectation of other guests in the hotels or where you're staying.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You cannot expect the hotel staff to babysit every guest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked in a restaurant during the pandemic, and it was kind of like babysitting at times.
Oh, I know.
Kind of.
Sit down, put your mouth. I was being polite.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it goes to, the other thing that came out this week is there was a poll done, I want to say by CNN or one of the big news groups, that said that there's 41% of Republicans refuse to get the vaccination.
I saw that.
And that's scary because that's millions and millions of people in America that are that are refusing the vaccination. So if this coronavirus keeps mutating, it is going to grow within that population, especially that are not getting vaccinated. So, and how is that's going to spill over to the people who are vaccinated? What if there's a mutated strand and all of us that took the responsibility of getting vaccinated are now at risk because this group of people refuse to listen to science.
And then it spills over into the world economy where nobody wants to let us in.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
That's why the passport is not welcome, is because they're like, no.
Yeah. Not you guys.
Handle your shit, America, and then you can come over.
Yeah.
I will give some silver lining to this though, because I was really worried about the variants too. But Moderna and Pfizer have both said that they're going to issue boosters. and think about this, who are they going to give boosters to? The
No,
people
that's-
who have had the vaccine. You
vaccine,
can't get
yeah.
a booster if you haven't had the vaccine yet.
Yeah.
So if people want to refuse to go ahead and get a vaccine,
Yep.
and it's your decision,
Yeah.
fine.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Fine.
100%.
Totally. But you would be also making a decision to separate yourself from the world.
Yeah.
And that's also your decision.
It also makes your life harder. It's showing
Yep.
now. So Adam and I on the podcast, we were talking about the vaccine, and this is before it started rolling out really
Mhm.
on a large scale, and before countries started saying you can come in if you're vaccinated. Qantas, the Australian national airline, came out in October of last year. This is long before the vaccine even appeared, right?
Yeah.
Like, when there's a vaccine, we're only going to allow vaccinated travelers on our plane.
Wow.
Adam and I kind of took that and dissected it, and we're like, can a business do that? Yes, they can.
Yes, they can.
Because it's a
Yes,
private
they can.
business.
It's a
so
private
they
business.
It's
Definitely
their private
can.
business. But people's opinions on the polls varied whether
Oh, really?
a business asked you to have the vaccine or whether a country asked you to have the vaccine.
Mm.
You know
But-
what? You're not a citizen of that country.
So you
And
don't have a
if-
say.
If you might have an opinion about whether the United States should be requiring everyone a vaccine, and that's fine, but not every country in this world is a democracy.
Mhm.
Not every country in this world is there's varying degrees of democracy. Sometimes your government can impose those things on you, and you also have to respect that. If you want to be a global citizen, though, and be able to have that privilege, and travel is a privilege.
It's
Yep.
not a right.
It's
Yeah.
not a right.
100%.
Countries issue visas, and they can make decisions based on who's coming in, and there are passports that are much more powerful than others, and you can go and take a look at how much ours has slipped, because it's been a lot.
A lot, yeah. Especially
Um,
during the Trump administration.
Yeah,
100%.
but you as an American does not give you a fucking right to just impose whatever your fucking opinion is on everybody else.
Mhm.
So welcome to the world.
Continue to do so.
Well,
Yeah.
it goes to the same thing of all of those videos we've seen online about businesses refusing service to people who are not wearing masks.
And
It's the same with this
businesses-
airline. It is a
Businesses
private
can make
business.
that decision.
If they want to make that a policy for their business, they have every right to.
It's
Yeah.
their prerogative to do so. I just thought it was interesting that let's say I'm the one that has the opinion. If the airline required me to have the vaccine, I'm not okay with it. But if the country required me to have it, I'm okay with it. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the difference?
What is the
I see what you're
difference?
saying.
Requirement.
Because Qantas is nationalized.
Qantas is the
Yeah.
national carrier.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
But you're
got it.
right, Roz, because it's like,
What's the
well, what
difference?
is the difference?
Right.
I don't.
But-
Because
people are
they should
dumb.
be
No
they should be
sense.
falling in line with the opinions of the government.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Got
So
it.
so Adam and I dissected that, and then we're like, okay, what are your opinions on the vaccine? And there are a lot of people, and this was before it rolled out heavily in the US again,
Mhm.
that were like, I'm not going to get the vaccine. I don't want to. It was pretty evenly split. It was like 54%. And yeah,
Mhm.
so it was very evenly split. And that was interesting to us because as a traveler, I was like, I'll be a volunteer. Go on. take
Yeah.
me. You know?
You're like,
I've
stick it
had
in
all
me.
of that.
Let's do
I've got a
this.
proof of all the vaccines I've had. I'm fine with this. You know, so it was interesting to see people be so anti-vaccine, not from
Mhm.
like an anti-vaxxer perspective, but just, you know, if you're traveling, it's going to make your life easier. And now it is, because
Yeah.
countries are opening up and saying, if you have the vaccine, don't worry about a PCR test.
Yeah.
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 It's crazy, I think. Well, some of the reasoning behind why people are not getting vaccinated is they're relating it to like, I never get the flu vaccination and I'm fine. And you know what I mean? It's just, I don't understand what the big deal. What, Robbie, do you have a comment? Mike.
I know. Is it to turn it on? No, I was just going to toss in there that you guys are talking about, is it okay for a private business to say,
Yeah.
you need to wear a mask if you want to come in? I don't care what your beliefs are. In order to come in here, you have to wear a mask. Or you need to be vaccinated to fly or whatever. And one of the arguments against it is, well, if that's the case, and I don't want to bake a cake for a gay marriage.
Oh, come the
Oh,
fuck on.
God.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the arguments is, that is my right. It's my private business. I can make that decision. But my argument against that is, That
It's
is
a
not
public
the
health
same
issue.
thing. That's a false equivalency
Yes.
because it's different to
Correct.
say I'm not going to bake cakes for you people, but I'll bake cakes for you people. That's different than saying everybody that comes in here has to wear a mask. Everybody
Yeah.
that comes in here.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between you're going to apply the rule to every customer or you're going to single customers out. So I kind of cringe anytime I hear people say
Use that for
that
an
it's
argument.
equivalent to saying I don't like to serve gay people or I don't like to serve this group or that group.
Thank you, Rob.
It's not the same.
Good point, Rob.
Good,
And-
really good point.
And I love
Yes.
that issue that you raised because that is a pretty huge conservative tactic, and I think it's something that a lot of LGBTQ plus and
Yeah.
allies should know about. False equivalency
Mm-hmm.
is when somebody uses your argument and turns it against you by something that's actually completely unrelated.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's interesting you bring that up, Rob, with the whole I'm not going to bake a cake for the gays. That argument
pose
is
a health risk.
still happening in America.
We do not pose a health
no,
risk
we
to
do
anybody
not.
else.
Well,
So that-
I
crazy.
agree. It's like it's the health part, but it's also discrimination. The whole point
Yeah.
is you're not allowed to discriminate against certain people is not the same thing as saying all customers are going to be treated
Yeah.
the same. We just require you to wear a mask and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm
It
not gonna get
also
into
made me think, like, as far as now that there's this group of people who will not get vaccinated, I figure here in San Diego, where we live, the people you hang out with, you go out with, we're in the community. Most of the people, if not all, will probably get vaccinated because they have the mindset of, yes, I want to get vaccinated. This is what appropriate to do. So staying within your bubble, I don't know, maybe that's going to help people feel a little safer. You know what I mean? Instead of, let's say you're living somewhere where it's a mostly Republican town and you believe in the vaccination, you're like maybe the only person who's getting vaccinated. You know,
And
that
it's worth
just-
it at that point. I mean, if nobody
Yeah.
around you is getting it, you just, I mean, the vaccine as well is not meant to stop you from getting COVID. It's meant to
no.
shorten the incubation period.
Mhm.
You know?
Yes,
And so it's not as severe. You won't be on a ventilator. It'll
Yeah.
free up the hospitals.
correct.
And it gives you have a less chance of even getting it. You still can get it. Definitely still you have a chance of getting it, but it does lower. Just like
Right.
with the flu vaccine. You know, you still can
Right.
get the flu. It may not be severe if you have the vaccination.
Yeah.
I got malaria on anti-malaria pills, so anything is possible.
Anything
Oh
is
my
possible.
God.
Anything is possible.
What the fuck was that like?
It was actually not as bad as dengue.
You got dengue too, God, Rob.
Ross is like on fucking Oregon Trail over
I know,
there,
Oregon
cholera and
Trail.
shit.
Adam calls me the disease queen.
Well, how many exotic diseases have you had?
I know, exotic diseases. I love
Yes,
it.
I've had 2 tropical diseases. The mosquitoes love. I'm going to say us, Bash, because you should be careful too. 'cause
Oh
we-
my
They
God.
love you
we come from
Italian.
the same
Mosquitoes.
blood. We
Yeah,
come from the same-
you
They're just like,
Italian.
okay.
pasta.
They're like marinara sauce. We're in.
I have
Mosquitoes
gotten
love
the
people from the South Italy. I don't know what it
I
is.
never do.
insane.
I never
And
get
we-
mosquito bites. I
You
I
would think-
do.
No,
They're like, your
no.
blood is toxic. No, thank you, ma'am. And we
Roz,
let's
where's
move
your
on.
family from? Like
From
Naples,
Calabria.
right? Calabria. Okay, so
Mhm.
I'm from Sicily, and they
Yeah. We're normally under normal circumstances, Bash and I are mortal enemies.
are we? I didn't know
Totally.
Calabrians hate Sicilians,
Calabrian and Sicilians have like this
History.
but we're like,
of trying to one up each other.
uh,
They both had their own mafia thing going on. They both had their own like
Mhm.
small worlds. And
oh, I
And
didn't know that.
for our
And
listeners who are
feels-
tuning in and maybe haven't listened to our other episodes with Roz, she's actually Italian and Australian. So that's why you hear the accent. Because I'm sure people are like, what do you mean? Your accent doesn't sound Italian. Go ahead, Roz.
I do kind of wish we'd gone to Australia.
No, I was
instead
just
of here
gonna say for
sometime.
those podcast listeners that maybe haven't listened to every episode, Ross has been on like what 3 times now.
3 times.
Yeah.
One was a
Yeah.
2-parter, which is a hugely
Oh,
popular episode,
yeah,
by the
our-
way. The
our-
ayahuasca episode. If you want to
Oh,
hear
yes.
Ross's
Oh, that was such
experience
a good
with
episode.
ayahuasca down in Costa Rica, go
And her
to
best friend, her pillow that she made while she was
listen to the I Wanna Ayahuasca episode. I forget the
part
episode
1 and
number.
2. It was a good episode. Those were fun.
so engaging.
Those are fun.
Yeah, and Roz took audio of her on ayahuasca, and we had to play them, and they were so funny. Like, it was a great episode seeing your reaction to yourself. ayahuasca. So you just got back from Belize. How is Belize, and how is the trip and traveling during the pandemic and all that? Because I've never been to Belize. So
first, I'm a big fan of pandemic travel because there's no one around.
That would be perfect for me. I don't like 90% of people.
I love that.
We went to this place on the island of on the island of Ambergris Caye. There's a town called San Pedro. We went to this place called Secret Beach, right? It takes you about an hour to get out there on a golf cart. The whole island is majority golf carts, so you don't have to drive around.
Love it.
Wonderful. It's a beautiful lifestyle. And we drive out there, and under normal circumstances, this beach would be covered in people. There would be nowhere to sit. There were deck chairs for days and picnic tables in the water. In the water.
Oh my God, I would love that.
In the water. It's wonderful. And the water's Caribbean, like crystal blue. You can see right down to the bottom as far as the eye can see. It's fantastic. You know, so I'm a big fan of like actual pandemic travel as far as that experience goes. Because I had like just the service was great. You know, the company was great and the location was beautiful and it was relatively cheap. And Belize, they handle things, I think, even better than we do. You know, when you go into the restaurants, you have to wash your hands before you come in. They have hand wash stations at the front. So as you enter, you wash your hands.
I love this.
Yeah, and then you take a seat. I'm like, that's a tiny measure that actually I think is better than a temperature check, honestly.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
Because temperature checks, I mean, things fluctuate all the time.
Right.
Obviously, if you have a huge fever, I think you would know because you'd be hallucinating at that point.
Yeah.
You know, when I had my vaccine, I had a fever.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think Belize are handling it super well. The airline, everything was super smooth, even at San Diego Airport at check-in. You know, we went through, we landed. You show your COVID test to them. You can actually test on arrival in Belize if you want to. I personally wouldn't recommend it because, again, if you test positive, it's 2 weeks into a hotel and there you stay.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can still do all the outdoor adventure activities because Belize is all outdoor adventure. So it was wonderful. Everything was handled perfectly. The hotel staff, everyone was super professional. I felt super safe. At no point did I feel uncomfortable. The only time I did was other guests who felt it was okay to approach me without a mask.
Yeah. Did you slap him? I would have slapped
That's still like my number one pet peeve.
They were like, "Oh, you're wearing a mask?" I'm like, "Well,
you're like, yeah, no shit.
I get stuck here. I mean, it's beautiful. I can't afford to get stuck here for 2 weeks. Okay."
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh man, but that is a lot of info on travel during the pandemic, and you guys you go way more in depth than what we would do on this show in this episode. So if people want to check out your podcast and find out, even you have great tips on how to get cheap flights, where to look from, and Adam goes into about points and all of that good stuff. So it's it's Mates Rates, but it has an apostrophe. It's Mates
apostrophe Rates.
Yes.
But if you have Instagram, it's mates.rates.podcast.
Yeah, and can people just DM you if they have specific questions on travel?
Adam and I always slide into those DMs.
Yeah, right?
And you can find me on Ask Ros She Travels as well, which is just askrosshetravels.com. And that actually links you to the podcast, links you to the email. It just,
is all of that. But since we're talking travel, there was another big article that came out this week. Yesterday in Japan, Tokyo, Nintendo World opened up. And it was very limited. And if you guys have not gone online and seen the videos of Nintendo World, it has been delayed for so long. And I think we talked about this last year when we had our theme park episode and we talked about Disney and stuff. Bashy and I were very excited about Super Nintendo World, and it had been delayed, and there were just sneak peeks of it. But go online.
It looks Legoland.
I'm so excited to check this out.
It looks so amazing. Unfortunately, Americans cannot travel to Japan right now because I guess we're not allowed in.
But do you think they're going to open an American version?
Yes, there is rumor. Florida and California are the two.
In California, do you think it'll
I think it's going to be part of Universal Studios.
Universal Studios, right? Yeah.
No, put it in
But
San
it looks
Diego.
amazing, down to the food, down to the rides. Like, I grew up on Nintendo. That was like the first game station. So seeing this, Like how, remember when Toontown first opened up and you went and it was just like, oh my God, everything's cartoon. It's like that, but this seems like 100 times better.
Toontown used to
regress us back to
fucking-
children really quickly.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. I was watching videos about the opening that happened, I believe it was yesterday, and reading the articles. A lot of people had emotional reactions to going to the park because they grew up on these characters, and seeing them in real life really got to people. It was so cool to see. And for podcast listeners, Bashi has his wiener out again.
I'm sorry.
He's
weaning.
popped out to say hello.
Bash, you have to lift your wiener a little bit so
Lift
see
it up so everybody can see your wiener.
Yeah.
Look at it.
It's so
Look at
cute.
it. It's such a
Thank
cute
you.
wiener.
Tug on that wiener.
Your wiener looks so scared right now.
Oh,
but
pet your wiener to calm him down. Pet your wiener to calm him down. I don't know if that'll
It's
calm
very hairy.
Very hairy.
Ah.
I know. But what did you think, Bashing Nintendo World? Like, is
I'm
this...
stoked on it. That is another location that I'm dying to get back to is Japan, though, which is like fucking society done right.
Yeah.
Everything just works. The people are goddamn nice. It's a beautiful place. It's relaxing when you need it to be. It's active and exciting when you need it to be.
Yeah.
But do you know where in Japan it is? Is it in Tokyo?
I want to say, yeah, it's
or
I'm not
Osaka.
gonna even
Outside of Tokyo.
Yoshinaka.
Oh,
Where?
Well, while you're looking that
Noriko
up,
no Kanasha. I'm not even gonna try to do
Hold
that.
on, I'll figure
You
it
do
out.
it,
Yeah,
please. Thank you,
Google
Bash.
it.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, well,
Rob.
while you're looking that up, in our YouTube chat, and by the way, any listeners on the podcast, if you want to watch us live, you can tune in to YouTube every Saturday afternoons at 12:30 Pacific. But anyway, in the YouTube chat, Loso Salazar says they've already started building Nintendo Land at Universal Studios
have?
Hollywood, and it looks great.
Yes.
Ooh.
Is that Lorenzo?
Lorenzo.
Lorenzo. Hi, Lorenzo.
I was like,
I didn't know they already started building it.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's gonna be cool. I
think he showed me photos of it,
Yeah.
of like they had like a drone that has photos you can
Yeah.
Google.
Well, speaking of Lorenzo,
interesting. It's in Osaka.
It was Osaka. Okay, thank you, Bashi.
So that's a good reason to just get out of Tokyo when you visit Japan.
Yeah,
because
it looks
Tokyo
amazing.
is great.
I cannot wait. I want to go. I really do want to go. I mean,
Yeah.
it just looks so cool. But speaking of Lorenzo, Lorenzo and us, we went Saturday to see Miss Miriams Tea Party, and it was the first
God.
drag show I had been in probably a year.
Wow.
It was.
That was a good one.
So good. It was
I thought
really
it was
good.
really good. It was
And
nice seeing Paris out.
That's what
Paris
I was going to
was
do.
amazing.
Paris, one of the local queens here, who is the general manager for Inside Out, she rarely performs, and she was at Miriam's Tea Party performing. And when I tell you, she was amazing. It was she had pyrotechnics
It was
in
insane.
her number. It was insane. Like
That
she
was
did.
the opening number.
Oh, it was so good. It was
Come back
so
and
good.
work.
All the queens and fan of the podcast and friend of the podcast, Naomi Daniels, she was amazing too.
Awesome.
Yeah, and Eva the sexy
Evelyn was
sloth.
there.
Great.
So
they all
funny.
I know. They all did really it was a really
was
fun
great.
show.
You
could
could tell
Miriam
that there was
T.
like,
put a good show on this time.
yeah, it seemed like there was a lot of pent up energy in the
Oh,
performers,
yeah.
and they were just
Yeah.
happy to be back too. But
Oh,
I
for
had never
sure.
seen Paris perform.
Yeah.
We've seen her at Inside Out all
All
the
the
time,
time.
but I've never seen her just in her element. She was fucking great. I was a joy
She
to
was
see.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very, very good show. Everybody did.
and Miriam was good too.
She did all right. No, she was good. She did
She
a
was
great
awesome.
job.
She-
like
a Miss
always.
Piggy number.
That
Oh,
was
her
so
Miss
great.
Piggy
It was fucking
number.
funny.
I watched the videos. That you
Oh yeah,
guys
we posted
Yeah.
it on our Insta account, so
did.
go
And you were
check
live
it.
for a
Check
while
out.
too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, go check out Who Invited Her _ podcast. You can see a couple of the videos that we have up there from Miss Miriam T's Tea Party. It was a great show. And if you're in San Diego, make sure you get tickets for the Tea Party right away because they sell out so fast. It's a great show. And Miss Kixie Vixen Styles, friend of the show, her show's coming back too, I believe.
Oh,
They
really?
do Bubbly Brunch on Sundays for her show. And I want to say her other another
What's
show
that starting?
she's starting.
I think
up
she has
during
one
the
at
week.
number one.
Number one,
right?
that's where it is.
Oh, cool.
It was the Faces of Kixie, I want to say, and it's the other queens doing her while she hosts it. That was the theme for, I think, the one this week. But she's going to be having a show there. The drag's coming back in San Diego because another friend of the podcast, Miss Michelada, she's doing her show back at number one on Fifth too. So there's
Sitting
stuff
in the stands at Tea Party.
huh?
Sitting in the stands at Tea Party.
Yeah, she was at Tea Party.
It was
Yeah,
good
we
to see
got
her
see
too,
it.
though.
I had drinks with her on Thursday.
Oh, you did?
Yes, and we went
How
to a
are
drag
they?
show at number one. They were all like baby drags. There's like a whole new reign out there.
I know.
that's
We've
good.
been
Queens
gone.
I don't even know about. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really cool.
Yeah,
It's like
once me and Robbie and I get our vaccination, which is happening soon, it'll be nice to be able to go out in the community more and start really before this pandemic, we were at pretty much every goddamn drag show there was
Yeah,
supporting
I
the
know.
queens, and it was so much fun. So I cannot wait till we get back to that. But and one thing I do have to say about Lorenzo, love that he's a theater nerd. Love that he's a theater nerd. I finally have somebody
he's
to
a
talk
theater
about
nerd.
theater with.
Me and Eric were like
I know
Yeah,
you
we
two
just
are so bored.
glazed over, and we're like, I have
Sitting
no
back.
idea what you're talking about.
Right? But since we are on the topic of drag, we have to talk about
Drag race.
yes, RuPaul's Drag Race, and Roz is like a diehard Drag Race fan because I get the
Yeah.
texts every week. Did you watch the episode? No, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it was amazing.
I can talk about it with apart from you all. So
I
it's like,
know.
has somebody watched it? Yeah, I'm like, bring it up over
So did
here.
everybody watch the episode from last night, the newest episode?
I have not,
Yes.
but go
Oh,
ahead.
spoiler alert.
It's fine.
Spoiler alert. Okay. I just want to get like Roz's take on this. What did you think? And who has been your favorite this season?
Yes.
Oh. Okay, I really,
She had to take a break. She's like, I got to get ready for this.
I really appreciate Utica. I think she's
Utica's good.
incredible, but she's reaching a point where it's not going any further.
Okay.
Like-
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm kind of like getting a little bit bored. Kind of like why, spoiler alert, like
Spoiler alert. Tina
Tina,
Burner got the
exited
boot.
because she reached her peak. Like it was
Yeah.
just, it wasn't breaking out anymore. And then you've got Simone, who I think is getting better.
Oh,
Yes.
she blew it
Getting
out this
better.
week.
I was like,
Oh.
whoa, hilarious.
Yeah.
The runway was great. Like that was
God,
clever,
it was
funny.
good.
Yeah, so I really loved Utica in the beginning because I love the quirkier queens. I
Mhm.
forget the name of the one from last season.
The weird.
top
Who was
three.
the one from
Crystal Method.
Crystal
Yes,
Method.
it was
Yeah.
Oh, I
my
like Crystal.
favorite.
Oh, I
It was
did.
Yeah.
She was
great.
so good.
And I still feel like her and Gigi are robbed. But anyway,
Fuck, I didn't know you were this into it, Roz.
Oh, she's into
Yeah.
it.
She's
Oh,
super
she
into
is.
it.
Okay, I gotta ask you, Roz. What are you thinking of Candy Muse this season?
it's really okay. It's hard now to say what I want to say because the last episode, like
Yeah.
she keeps opening up, which is incredible. 'Cause I think it's just good for everybody who's watching to hear these stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then on the stage, she has like this entitlement that she just speaks up, and
know.
it's like, hey,
No.
this is not your time right now. This is
Yeah,
everybody's
it's like,
time.
shut up. Shut
you
up.
know? Like, just not
Shut
tone it down, but just like time and place. You know?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
producer. Rob.
I had a thought about that too. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Because I
Rob.
was just complaining about this to Tony today. Is like, has she won that many challenges? Why does anybody
No.
care what her thoughts, opinions, and advice are throughout the
Valid.
entire season?
valid,
I'm like,
Robbie.
girl, you need to start coming in first place before you start telling everybody else what they should do, shouldn't do. And I'm sorry, but
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
And
she
that
just
run-
100%. Yeah.
She
Oh.
just
That
sucks the air
runway-
out of the room.
Oh, I know, Eric. The
That's a
runway
great way
this
to
week. I was like,
The
girl,
runway
no.
this week.
Come on,
it,
no.
It looked like
This
it looked
week?
Like bitch.
Every.
What do you mean this week? Like every fucking week. I'm like, girl, you got little fucking like Michael's craft store daisies in your goddamn hair. Like, it's just
Yeah,
fucking
that again.
nuts.
Speaking of the
Um,
runway, though,
Yeah.
was it just me or was watching the like lip sync battle really just
Between it was
strangely unnerving because of the outfits? Okay, you've got Maleficent, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
and then you've got like Monsters Inc. Right?
Yeah.
It's just like I don't.
I
What's
don't know. Yeah.
It's like you're on ayahuasca. Or anything could have been happening, you know.
Yeah.
It's so true.
They could not be two more different lip syncs. Like they
Yeah.
were it was like watching two different songs. It was
Because
so
it was
weird.
Tina Burner and it was Utica in the bottom two
Yeah.
that lip synced against each other. And,
Got it.
I think they called it. You were right, Roz. Tina Burner burned out. She burned out, and it was time for her to go.
Can I interject? And
Yeah.
I haven't seen the episode yet, but I saw on TikTok, which is my platform of choice these days,
I love
that somebody who knows Tina Burner and like goes to a lot of her shows and everything was saying that like this is out of left field. Like the orange and red and yellow thing is not like what she is in New York.
Huh.
Like if you go to a Tina Burner show, it's not like that. She's never worn these colors before. It's completely like fabricated for the show.
Yeah. Or did she
I don't
fall
know.
under this thing that some of the queens do is go into the show and want to produce themselves and say, this is how I want to present myself. This is going to be the branding.
Yeah.
And it's totally
it's
different
amazing.
than maybe what they do
I mean,
in their hometown.
She does take things very literal. So
Yes,
maybe she
very.
was just like, burner, fire. That's what I'm going to do. And then just kind of
I
kept going.
love
That's
your
what we got.
imitation of her.
I actually thought her lip sync was better than
I agree.
Utica's.
The lip sync was better.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
I
she had
wasn't
this like
blown away
huge
by either.
outfit
Yeah.
with like the massive humps, and it was my humps. It was
Yeah,
so
that's true.
perfect. It was so perfect, and like the like gyrating like on the floor. I was like, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
But
Her
yeah, I
makeup was bad this week, though.
it was bad.
What,
This
okay,
week-
what did you think of the top? The winner was Simone, who very much deserved it with Rose in second place.
How
What did
many
you think of
wins-
those two?
How many wins does Simone have? Does anybody
God,
know?
a lot. I think this is number
think
4 or
four.
5.
Four?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
thinking 4.
Yeah.
She did great. I mean, her branding and her acting, it was so good and natural. And then, so it was a monster themed runway. And she came out in a full on fox outfit, foxy lady, literally like a furry, fox head to toe, and had
so
like the
excited to
hoop
watch this.
earrings, Daisy
And the
Dukes,
boots,
tank,
was-
like it was so
And heels too.
and
love
heels.
it.
It was amazingly good. And then you had Rose, who came out in that the red devilly look. Oh, that was
Yeah.
great.
It was cool.
And even
really
her
like
commercial was really good. I think
I thought Rose did a great job
Yeah.
this week. Yeah. It was very well deserved for the two of them.
for them, yeah, both. They both won, actually, right? They both won.
Yeah,
It was a
they
double
both
win
won.
this week.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
It was a double win. Yeah.
And I hope that that keeps like Rose coming out of her shell
yeah.
because she's been very like it's been very on brand, kind of like Tina Burner on brand. And this, I think, was a little bit more of an exploration.
Oh, for
the
sure,
Yeah.
Roz.
The
Yeah.
comedic side. It's like, yeah, keep doing that because you're funny. You are
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree, yeah, 100%. But can you believe they're barely at 6 queens? It feels
I
like the
know.
season is never gonna end.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's
We're at
still
Yeah.
6 queens left.
There's
This has
gotta
been
be-
going since New Year's.
It
I-
has.
you're
and
about
we're
to- it's
still
about to be
talking about the
April.
season.
Are you
Jesus
serious?
fucking Christ.
Wow, what is time?
What is
But,
time? You're right.
What is time?
Wait a minute. So has there not
Another-
been a double elimination yet? Because that's got to be
No,
coming.
That's you are.
No.
I feel it's got to be
Maybe
coming
you called
soon.
it. Maybe you called it back.
Yeah, maybe you did. But
Yeah.
before we head out, there was
Candy Muse will be on that one.
a
Sorry.
story that came out today in San Diego news that I wanted to get you guys' opinion on. So at San Diego Zoo, world famous San Diego Zoo, a 22-year-old man decided to climb into the elephant exhibit with his 2-year-old daughter. He climbed through a few barriers to get in to the exhibit so his daughter could see the
Barriers,
elephants.
not one,
Yes.
a few.
So apparently, when they got in to the exhibit, one of the elephants started to charge the dad and with his daughter, and of course nobody was hurt, thank God. And of course he was arrested for endangerment. My thought of this is like, what the hell goes through your head as a parent, where you
I have
are
one question.
I'm gonna go let my daughter pet this elephant. I just don't understand people.
I have a lot of thoughts.
Go,
One
Bash, you go
stomp,
first. I want to
And
get
it
your
crushes
thoughts.
you. One stomp is all it
Yeah.
takes, and you're dead.
Let's
Yeah.
go round robin.
Go,
Start with
Bash.
Roz.
Oh, Roz,
No,
go.
sorry, Roz,
Let's
you go
roll
ahead.
with Roz.
Let this person reproduce.
Correct.
Correct. 100% correct. Oh my goodness gracious! What about you, Bashi?
Where are they from?
San Diego. Let's assume they're from San Diego.
I don't think
No, they might be from Clan T, way out there.
I don't think that this is a San Diego.
Pass holders.
Pass holders, yeah.
I'm a pass holder, god damn it.
I'm entitled.
I want to pet the elephant. I want my private tour.
The elephant experience.
I had a needless fact I could share.
Go ahead, Rob. They usually contribute a lot to the conversation.
That those elephants, first of all, they're all like 30, 40 years old. Because they were like born in the 60s, right? So they've been there a long time. Those specific elephants that were charging this 2-year-old baby were on the very first YouTube video that was ever uploaded to YouTube, were those elephants.
You're absolutely fucking correct, Rob.
Wow, look at you, Rob.
I
look
love
at
that.
her coming in with the knowledge.
Very random.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I like them.
I got a story. Go ahead, Bashi.
I think it is kind of funny though, because a lot of people who visit San Diego think that the zoo is like the zoo, but it's not. Yeah. Like the safari park is the real zoo. The zoo within Balboa Park is like the retirement center for all the animals.
Yeah, it is. You're absolutely right.
when they're up at the safari park, they have a lot of room.
Oh, I love the safari park.
Elephants got like acres and acres of land to walk on. When they get to the zoo, they're old. They're decrepit.
Why do you think Rob and I live down the street?
I just think it's so cute that it's all like the senior citizen animals.
But I mean, as a San Diegan like you, Bashi, I mean, the zoo is such a staple to San Diego. And we do have an amazing zoo. I'm really do. I am too.
A lot of zoos, I'm a little bit like, I don't know if animals should be kept like that, but I do think they do a bang up job of making sure they're all happy and healthy and everything like that.
Oh, for sure. What?
I've never been.
Get the fuck out of here, Eric.
I can't believe you've never been to the fucking zoo, Eric.
How did we never go?
I know.
I know.
You need to fix this.
You know what the best thing is getting super high and walking around.
I was just gonna say that was like our Sundays.
Yeah.
Baked in the parking lot.
Go ahead, Robbie.
Well, because we live within walking distance of the zoo. Tony and I had an annual pass for a while, but I went there when my sister and my niece came out to visit. And it was during COVID because it was in 2020.
Right before we shut down?
No, this was when we came out. They came out in the fall. Gotcha. But anyway, so you have to wear your mask. You have to social distance, blah, blah, blah. Those are the rules. But I'm sorry, when you get there with a bunch of little kids and a bunch of families, everybody totally forgets about as soon as there's a monkey or an elephant or something really close, everyone just runs over there, crowds around each other, masks off. They're walking around eating hot dogs, breathing on each other. It was kind of like a little COVID soup, is what it reminded me of.
COVID soup?
Well, the gorillas all got COVID.
Yeah.
Well, I can see why from the people, because as soon as the gorilla comes up to the front, there's a mob of people.
Yeah. God. Go ahead,
Another
Bashi.
fun fact. Yeah. The gorillas at San Diego Zoo, I believe, and I hope a fan corrects me if I'm wrong or something, or a listener, but I think they were the first animals, non-humans, to receive a COVID vaccine.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Nice.
I think I read that too. Yeah.
You know how Rob I gotta tell this story really quick. Rob chimes in with the randomest facts, right? So when me and Rob first started dating, it was when we went to my birthday. And I brought Rob, and he was meeting a bunch of my friends at El Camino here in San Diego, my sister, everybody. And we're all sitting at the table and having a really funny conversation. Rob decides to chime in with some knowledge about the carnitas we were eating because they're pork. Rob, during this conversation, everybody's laughing and joking. Rob pipes up and goes, "Did you know that they electrocute the pigs and they pee themselves inside before they die?" That literally the table went quiet and you could hear a pin drop and everybody just turned and looked at me, looked at Rob, and I was like, oh dear Lord.
Oh, that's why people call me Debbie Downer.
I know. It was
like, I think I'm gonna marry you.
Well, we have I have like a group chat with my friends that I'm in, right? And somebody posted a picture of a cute little bunny in the backyard. And I'm like,
Rob.
oh, do you know that most of those get eaten by the coyotes?
Oh my god.
I think it's
Good
hilarious.
Lord.
Right, Roz?
Wow.
Oh man, but Roz,
I love
give
random factoids.
right. Rob's
Me
full
too.
of them. Rob's full of that and the weirdest stories. Roz, give everybody all the deets on your podcast, how they can reach you guys, follow you guys, all of that.
Yes, so the podcast is mates.rates.podcast on Instagram, or you can just use AskRozSheTravels.com, and everything is linked there. And that's Roz with an S.
Yes, Roz with an
R-O-S.
S. Roz.
One
Roz
S.
with an S.
One S.
One S. Yeah, I love having you on the show. It is always such a
love
pleasure and
being here.
fun when you come on the show. And you guys check out her podcast. There is such good information about travel, not just in the pandemic, but on flights and where to go. All the really, really good stuff with two very funny people who present the information in a very entertaining way. How do people find you, Bashi?
I'm at _bash on Instagram.
Yes. And have you posted any more TikToks?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I'm having some TikTok technicals.
Oh no.
We're getting there.
Good.
That's a mouthful.
I know,
I know.
TikTok technicals. How do people find you, Eric?
Ooh.
I know. Oh, God. I know, long. Shit,
I felt
sorry.
like I felt that through like my computer
No, I'm
monitor.
sorry.
I am Party Bear Eric on Instagram.
Fuck up, bitch. You can follow the podcast at Who Invited Her _podcast on Instagram. We're Who Invited Her SD on Twitter and Facebook. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube and leave your comments below on any of the topics we talked about today. Also, go on Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star rating and a review. It helps us out a lot. Don't forget, we have merch on the website. Just hit the shop button. It'll take you to our new merch website that we have t-shirts, all that good stuff. And I think that is it for us this week. Thank you again, Roz. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on the show like always.
I love
And
being here.
we will see everybody next week. Have a good rest of the weekend, everybody. Bye. Put your wiener away, Bash. Put your wiener away.